Burgundy Ballers, welcome back to another episode of the Ballin and Burgundy podcast. Yeah, as we got a great episode together for you guys. Justin is not here; he's still at work. That man stay working. So, prayers and ones in the chat. But we got our guy Tim from the Tim Sports Talk, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. You guys know the drill. What's up, Tim?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Oh man, thank you for coming on such short notice. I literally emailed you last night?
Is that what it was? Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Wednesday
Sure.
night, and here we are Friday. You can see this on Saturday. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe here on the channel. Head over to the Tim Sports Talk on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, the whole nine. Go like, subscribe, follow him. He's got some heat content. I talked with him last year over on Pro Tech Sports Networks. We had an absolute blast over there, and we're gonna keep this thing rolling. So let's get into this week 3 at home against Bills Mafia. It's time to get the tables because we're probably getting put through 1 o'clock, hopefully at home with some decent weather, because right now there's a tropical storm coming up the East Coast. I already got wind and rain the next day and a half. Chris, I'm sure you'll get it too. Tim, I think if you live anywhere close to the East Coast, you'll get some wind and rain.
Yeah, I live just outside of DC.
Yep, so you'll get some by tomorrow afternoon. So hopefully that doesn't punish us, but if so, we will either be playing in a monsoon or this game will be postponed. But it is the Bills. They are 1-1. We are 2-0. But it's still the Bills. It's still Josh Allen. It's still Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, James Cook, Von Miller, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Matt Milano. It's a solid crew. Nothing to sneeze at. They're a top 5, team in the AFC the past few years. We got a lot to worry about, because not only can they run the ball effectively for the most part, James Cook and the crew, and Josh obviously, uses his legs like the white Cam Newton he is. And then you've got the defense, Matt Milano, Pro Bowler, All Pro, Von Miller, All Pro, Pro Bowler, Hyde and Poyer, on the skies. Damar Hamlin may or may not be playing. We've got a lot to look forward to and a lot to worry about. Tim, what is your biggest concern going into this game?
It's got to be Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen combination. That's going to put our corners to the test. And what does Jack Del Rio do to slow that down at all? It's Stephon Diggs. He was putting work in on Sauce Gardner week 1. If you guys watched that live game on Monday night, so this guy can get open on anybody. So Kendall Fuller and Benjamin St-Juste and Emmanuel Forbes should never be put on an island with this dude. But I have a fear that Jack Del Rio may think he's too cool and he's going to put it on there at times. So that's obviously, I'm not breaking any news. Stephon Diggs is definitely the biggest issue going into this game, in my opinion.
For sure. Andrew, what's your thoughts?
I got to double down on what Tim said. I mean, obviously there's a little bit of concern with our defense last game, and hopefully that will not carry over into this game, but we'll have to see. And yeah, I mean, Diggs is one of the best receivers in the entire NFL. Like you said, he can get open against anybody, and he'll be a threat against us no matter what. But it will also be interesting seeing how this tropical storm may affect the game. If we play through it and it's like, a monsoon-like conditions, they also have a really good run game, which could end up tearing us apart. So we'll have to see how James Cook impacts the game as well.
Yeah, we were making Russ and Marvin Mims look like Montana and Rice. This was ridiculous. 2 for 113 and a touchdown was destroying me on the inside. Chris, what is your biggest concern?
It's definitely Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs going into this game. If I'm Washington, I'm double teaming Stephon Diggs all day long, all day. I don't want that man to catch anything on us, even though that's probably not gonna happen. But Andrew brings up this tropical storm that we have over here on the East Coast. And if it does happen to be a monsoon game, I don't think the Bills pass the ball a whole lot. Same thing with Washington. I don't think they would pass the ball a whole lot. and it would just come down to like a defensive slugfest. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, I can see that. Because right now, based off of injury reports, and these are the official reports, Logan Thomas is out with that concussion, courtesy of Kareem Jackson. You son of a bitch. Cam Curl and Curtis Samuel are both questionable with just flu-like symptoms. Ron's already touched on it. He said, he sent guys home last week. They were back the next day. So whether this is a 24-hour turnaround, maybe they, take some Benadryl and some Xanax and show up on Sunday. Who knows? But everyone else, Gates, Martin, Payne, and Robinson are all fully cleared for Sunday. And everyone on the Bills injury report was at full status today at practice. Guys like Spencer Brown, James Cook, Leonard Floyd, Hyde, Knox, Tre'Davious White. Tre'Davious White did not practice yesterday, but it's probably just another vet day for him. But they're at a full squad. We're just down Thomas and possibly Curl. If Curl does not play, I don't have as much confidence in our secondary, because even with Curl, we were giving up yard after big play to both Arizona and Denver. And it's not like they have all-world receivers. Rondale Moore and Marquise Brown, cool. Marvin Mims, Brandon Johnson, and Jerry Jeudy, not world beaters. Stephon Diggs is a top 5 receiver in this league. You can make an argument for top 3. There's an argument to be made. So we're giving up, 65-yard chunk plays to a Marvin Mims Jr. We're giving up 20-plus screens to a Rondale Moore, and we don't have our starting safety, killer back there. Diggs could go for over 100 yards.
Yeah, no, you had Percy Butler just backpedaling into oblivion against was that Mims who scored that touchdown? Just right down the middle. I don't know what he was looking at. I'm assuming it was cover 2, but I don't care if it's covered. There's nobody over on the left side of the field. Go guard the one that's right in the middle, scoring a touchdown. So if it's Percy Butler and Derek Forrest, that's bad. That's very bad news for the Commanders if that's our starting safety duo. Like, Cameron Crow's got to be out there, and please don't. And it was, you said was flu-like symptoms.
Yeah, flu-like symptoms.
He'll be out there.
Him and Curtis.
He'll be playing.
Be there.
They should be playing. I will pull up the quote real quick, and I will put it on screen when I go to edit this. So what Ron said to Ben Standig, obviously everyone knows him in Washington. He's the number one guy when it comes to this type of stuff. Ron said it's cold-like stuff, flu-like symptoms, stuff like that. They've all been testing everything. They sent home with medicine. You could rate them if you'd use them. They've been listed as probable, so more on they're playing than questionable. But they'll check back in the morning. They should be good. They had a couple guys early in the week on Tuesday, and they said, same flu-like symptoms, and they came back on Wednesday. So it's probably just the normal back and forth weather. You go from high altitude, no oxygen, back down to DC where it's just above sea level. It's the normal stuff we've all gone through. You wake up one day, can't breathe out my nose. Next day, oh, you're fine. So it's probably just that. I'm gonna start with Tim. What is going to be your biggest X factor on the Commanders going into this game?
The biggest X factor going into this game. I didn't think about this one. Let's see. The biggest X factor. Because I'm trying to think of what's not already obvious to. So the X factor, you would want to be a little bit more nuanced here. I guess it's got to be B-Rob. Brian Robinson. You said it's a nasty wet game. Brian Robinson had a great game against Denver. And if he has I think he's 8th in the league right now in total rushing yards.
Yeah.
Is the pick I keep seeing. So it's got to be him. It's got to be Brian Robinson. What kind of load can he carry? I think he's tremendous at being able to handle a full workload. So I'm excited to see what Brian Robinson does this week in a nasty, old school wet game.
For sure. Chris, we'll go to you next.
Honestly, I think the major X factor in this game, honestly, it's going to be the weather, because I feel like if this game was like sunny, like sunny and 70 on Sunday, I think the Bills would honestly put up 30 plus points on us. I'm not gonna lie to you. But now that it could possibly be very wet, I think Buffalo maybe only scores like maybe 20 points on us because of it. I mean, will their passing game be good? Don't know, because the ball is going to be slippery. Receivers aren't going to be able to catch good. So the weather obviously plays a major factor in this game.
Fair enough. Andrew?
I agree with Chris in the sense that the weather is going to be a good sized factor for us. But I also recall last season, Josh Allen playing in like this heavy snow game, and he was able to rip the ball down the field. And I feel like he's someone who's able to adapt a lot under extreme circumstances, weather conditions, and adjust his play, where I feel like their passing game is still going to be a threat with him as quarterback. And we shouldn't be fully expecting a run offense from them. But I think my biggest X factor, I'm going to say B-Rob has proven himself mostly to us, and we all trust him pretty well. I'm curious to see how our offensive line does in run blocking this game. If we can set him up for some really solid carries, I think that that's going to pave the way to a really strong offense today, and even open it up for Sam to start experimenting with some throws, even in tough conditions, because I feel like we've also earned some trust in him. It'll be interesting to see what they can piece together.
Yeah, I mean, these are all definitely big X factors. I'm going to go on a limb, and Tim might smile or he might cringe at this one. I'm going special teams. Special teams will be the big X factor for this game, because last year against the Patriots, they have 2 punt return or kick return touchdowns. Us, when was the last time we had one? Was that when still DeAndre Carter was on the roster in 2021?
Yeah.
We hear all these reports saying Cam Cheeseman's snap technique is not doing so hot. They bring in 5 long snappers on Tuesday to work out. They still go with Cheese. Sly's been, back and forth in camp. I mean, Tressway's, one of, if not the best punter in the league, so I have no worries about him. But it's going to be our kicking team. It's going to be Jamison Ladder with Crowder returning the ball. It's going to be Gibson returning the ball. It's to me, it's special teams. Because if we miss another field goal or two, or we miss an extra point, that's going to be, if we're up 24-21 in the fourth quarter, we miss a field goal, I feel confident Buffalo will go down and take the lead, if not steal the game. So I go special teams.
That's the case sometimes. Absolutely.
Especially with the cheese, especially with Cheeseman that we traded up for. Put a
6th-round pick in.
Had to get that long snapper, man.
Oh,
had to.
I mean,
that was a must. Couldn't let him slip.
You couldn't be bothered to draft Evan McPherson at that spot. You just couldn't.
Well, McPherson, I think, was already drafted, but still, we traded it up to go get him in the 6th round. And that was such a great draft pick. It was seeing Ron Rivera say Cameron Cheeseman, I literally just started busting out laughing. It's on stream. It's so great. Like that can't be who we actually traded up for, but it was.
When I saw it on Instagram, this is before even we were at Command Central, I was like, we took a long snapper.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that was such the biggest concern on our roster was long snapper. I could have sworn.
Yeah, because we had Nick Sundberg.
Yeah. Well, no, didn't he retire?
Only because we cut him.
Yeah.
Or let him go.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's only still 32 to no wait, maybe he's 36 today. I think he was 34 at the time. Like, it's not that crazy to keep. He had no problem. We never had a problem with Nick Sundberg.
No.
Ever. And yet that's the guy we had to go get rid of and trade.
I mean, we really didn't have any issues the past 2 years with Cheeseman. It's only been this one season. Oh man, I really want to test out this new technique.
You know what? You say that, But if you actually go back to Cameron Cheeseman's rookie season, he was blaming Dustin Hopkins' problems with the whole, what do you call it? It was the process. It was the whole process needs work. So he was basically throwing Cheeseman under the bus even back then.
Yeah.
Now, nobody's really, as long as the kick goes through the uprights, nobody's really paying attention is how great the snap was unless it's egregious. But clearly something was going on even then that felt the need that Ron Rivera did not just throw Dustin Hopkins under the bus. He threw the whole process, including the rookie. So, it's been more than just this year in a sense, if you look at it that way.
Yeah, if you look at the long term, it's been very up and down. If you compare it to last year, we're like, why? What new technique? You're balling out last year.
Mm-hmm.
And you jump back a year, you're like, yeah, very back and forth. And you look at Dustin Hopkins missing like 2 kicks out in Cleveland thing against the Steelers. It was hilarious. I swear now the defense can stop a cold. But that's besides the point. When it comes to how am I going to phrase this? Who are you guys more scared of going into this game? Josh Allen throwing or Von Miller getting to the quarterback? You guys will see.
No, to answer your question, I'm more afraid of Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen throwing the football.
Definitely.
Yeah, Josh.
However, in the comments, tell us who you're more afraid of, Josh Allen or Von Miller for this game.
As a theoretical question, yes, that is actually a damn good question. Who are you more scared of, Von Miller or Josh Allen? When it comes to actual gameplay time, I think the only actual answer is
Von.
the Madden cover.
The Madden
cover is the actual thing you're scared of.
Mm-hmm.
Madden cover, Chris?
I mean, I don't know. He's throws 4 turnovers against the Jets, and he balls out against the Raiders, and he's
Yeah, but you got to think about it. The Raiders, yes, they were 1-0, but dude, they were an okay team.
Yes, they are an okay team, but they still have good pieces. Crosby, Jones. He drafted Tyree Wilson.
Didn't Jones not play either?
I thought Chandler Jones played week 2.
Maybe he did. I didn't watch that game. I don't think he played week 1.
I don't think people watch Raiders games like that.
No. They played. Why did I know that? Oh, I knew that because I watched the highlights going into our game with the Broncos. I was like, why did I watch that game at all? I don't know why that's in my head, but no, that's why. But yeah, anyway, the Broncos, that game was weird. They only had 6 drives each in that whole game. And to give you perspective, we had 7 drives in the first half week 1.
Yeah.
And each of those offenses only had 6 drives, which is why the score was, people would think, oh, it's a defensive slugfest, 17-16. No, it was every single drive was long and sustained, like 6-7 minute drives.
Yep.
And they ended up with almost points on every single drive.
Yeah.
I think the Raiders got into the red zone 5 out of 6 times. 5 out of 6 drives. But anyway, go ahead.
See, I feel like that's what we need to do to beat Buffalo. We need drives to where we just grind out clock. Y'all remember the game against Tampa Bay when we had Heineke, right? Like 2 years ago? Not the wild card, but the regular season revenge game.
Mm-hmm.
Revenge game, yeah.
Okay. You remember how there was like almost 11 minutes on the clock left and we just took it out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's basically, I think, what we have to do against Buffalo, I feel like.
Yeah, I think we finished that game with something crazy. 9.5 minute, 10-minute drive or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
Use the weather to our advantage. Use the run game to run the clock. Yeah.
Exactly.
See, here's the thing is we are apparently masters at controlling clock. We have over 30 minutes of time of possession in almost every game. Yeah. And we went 8-1 last year. We went 7-10 the year before. We start out 2-0 with surviving Denver and just beating Arizona in the fourth quarter.
So this team makes no sense.
It was a 10.5 minute drive.
That's
against that Tampa game. Wow.
10.5 minutes game time. That's really like 40 minutes in actual
19
clock.
plays, 80 yards, 10:26 off the clock.
I think there was like 2 penalties on that drive, right? Like 2. I could have sworn there was like a holding and like an opposite defense. Like it was a weird drive.
I don't
And
see
to
any
top it
penalties,
off,
actually.
we
I
were-
think we just crushed them.
Good Lord.
I don't see a single one. That's crazy. I didn't remember if there was penalties or not. All I remember from that drive, other than Gibson scoring the 1-yard touchdown, is Terry McLaurin taking that shot on 3rd
Yeah.
and 5,
Yeah.
and then getting up and banging his chest like I'm him. Anyway, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, enough about the Tampa game. I like your point though. Big long drives.
Yes.
I mean, maybe not, 19 play drives. That would absolutely kill us watching the game. But if we can keep it, have 6, 7, 8-minute drives and then finish out the fourth quarter to win the game, I'm with you on that one. Long, meticulous drives.
I don't care if we have long drives the whole game. I just want to see us be able to go down the field, take the time out of Josh Allen's hands, and win this game.
Yep. I think for me is if you can just somehow we only perform in the second half of games. We were down at halftime against Arizona, we win. We were down tremendously. We were down bad at Denver. Back and beat them. If we can just keep some of that momentum in the first half, I think we'll be fine. If we go out and halftime is 17-3, I'm not going to feel so hot because you're not doing anything the first half. You have teams balling out in 4 quarters. We can barely play 2 as is without getting up 6 sacks.
If it's 17-3 by half, this game's over.
I wouldn't say it's over, but I'm gonna be discouraged that we can't play 4 quarters of football.
I mean,
it wasn't over when it was 21-3 in the middle second quarter last week.
Chris, you turned off the game at that rate.
Dude, I turned off the game, man. I was so pissed off.
That's bad.
This man says it's your bowl all over again. I'm going back to bed.
Granted, Buffalo should be better than Denver, so you still don't want to be down 17-3. But the Jets were down in that game, weren't they? And then Josh Allen decided to just give the game away.
I believe
It is true. Josh Allen under pressure, he really doesn't seem to do like that well. I feel like,
it was 13-3 Buffalo at halftime.
Yeah, 13-3 Buffalo halftime. So and no Aaron Rodgers. You think that game's over. And then Buffalo handed it. He had 3 turnovers in the second half, right?
Yeah. I think 2 picks and 1 fumble.
Yeah, 2 picks and a fumble. He's a disaster sometimes.
Yeah.
But we also do need a very clean game from this offensive line. Basically from everybody.
Yeah, no penalties kill us every drive.
No.
We just need what we need is to protect our tackles. And when we had great plays last week, the tackles had chip blocks from the tight ends and running backs, like the Terry McLaurin touchdown.
Yep.
Chip blocks. And then we basically get sacked when we put Leno and Wiley on an island and say, good luck. And then we get crushed and we're wondering what happened. It's because they stink. We don't have good tackles. I've actually liked Nick Gates, and then Charles had a really good game, and Sam Cosmi. So the inside seems to be pretty decent. The tackles are not. Do not put them on an island with Gregory Rousseau. And I know Von Miller, you said, is not playing, but don't they have another pretty decent pass rusher?
Greg Rousseau, they should have.
Now, and they have Leonard Floyd.
There we go.
So, and then, please don't put him on an island.
Yeah, don't do that. Who is the...
No, because otherwise it'll end up like the fumble Howell had last week in Denver that Slide had missed on that field goal because of it.
Yeah, their starting D line is going to be Greg Rousseau, Ed Oliver, DeQuan Jones, and Leonard Floyd. I actually forgot they also picked up Shaq Lawson.
Don't they have Tim Settle?
And they have Tim Settle.
Good God.
Linebacking core consists of Milano, Terrell Bernard, and Tehran. So their linebacking core is very similar to ours. Is you have one guy you can kind of recognize, and the rest is like, who?
Yeah.
And then their secondary is actually quite nice. Tre'Davious White, Christian Benford, Jordan Poyer.
Didn't he play for Tulane? He
Who?
did. I remember him in the draft.
Oh yeah.
Remember looking at him.
Yep. And then kicking Sam Martin and Tyler Vesio.
I- I'll
Good.
I'll say this: if we want to be in playoff contention down the road, at like near the end of the season, if we want to be in playoff contention, yes, this game is going to be tough, but this is one of those games where if you don't win, it might come back and bite you in the butt at the end of the season.
I don't
Starting
know.
off, go
Go
ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you go. I've been talking half the time.
Starting 3-0 would be something it is something we have not done a long time. And I think that would be a huge morale boost for this team, especially against one of the best teams in the NFL, top 10 for sure, case to be made for top 5. And regardless of Josh Allen's week 1 struggles in that second half, they are a very, very talented team. And if we can at least show that we can put on competition with them and that we can put up a good game, I'm going to be okay with it. And if we win, it's going to be amazing. I mean, 3-0, including the Bills, it's honestly like playoffs are not going to seem that far out of reach at that point. I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
No.
Allen had a crazy game last week.
Josh Allen had a ridiculous game.
31 for 37.
With 3 touchdowns, I think, passing touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you also got to remember, Buffalo at one point last week against Las Vegas was tied at 10 going into the half. So
yeah,
it wasn't at half, but yeah, they were. The Raiders took a lead at one point.
Yes,
but it was actually 21-10 at half. But yeah, they had a lead early in that game, and then Buffalo just ran away with it. It was not close at that point.
Yeah,
it depends on which Allen shows up. Like, I think that we should be underdogs in this game.
we are.
Oh, we definitely are. I think we're like 6-point underdogs in this game.
I think that's fair. They've been here
at
the top, towards the top of the league for a long time. We're up and coming. We have not beaten 2 very good teams. I think that the Broncos by the end of the year is not going to be looked at as a very good defense. I think that the coach is not very good, and he plays extremely soft and lets things underneath. And then that's why we were actually Eric Bieniemy did a great job attacking underneath and hitting the screen game when he needed to. And then we were able to go like over top to Terry every once in a while. But for the most part, we just destroyed them through underneath. And so we haven't played 2 very good teams. This is our first game that we're playing a top-rated team, and we'll see how we stack up in this game. And I think we have a legitimate chance because I'm a huge EV fan now. I was a skeptic coming in because I didn't know how much was Patrick Mahomes, how much was Andy Reid.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard because I think of like Nathaniel Hackett, who's supposed to be this good offensive mind, terrible in Denver. Adam Gase with Peyton Manning, and then he goes and he was terrible. Like, you can go to other ones where it's like when you have a top-notch quarterback, Josh McDaniels with Tom Brady, so I'm like, okay, I'm a skeptic. Not that I said that I don't think he had 0 chance to be good, but I was still concerned. After watching the film last week, I am 0% concerned. I love EB, huge fan, maybe the number 1 fan now. Love him, and I think that gives us a serious chance to win this game. He understands that he has to protect his tackles. The run scheme is 1,000 times better than Scott Turner. We have the weapons. He's protected Sam Howell for the most part. And Sam Howell does need to make sure he gets rid of the ball. Don't hang on it too long. And yeah, it's just our offense is going to give us a chance in any game. And it's now just depending on, are we going to go against MVP caliber Josh Allen, or are we going against week 1 Josh Allen?
Yeah.
You bring up Eric Bieniemy,
Mm-hmm.
Going into this game. That is the one thing, because Eric Bieniemy, we saw that last week. Them plays that he did against Denver. You got to remember, when he was with Kansas City, he saw them twice a year. For the 9 years
with the playoffs.
Yeah. And
Well, 'cause
then
but anyway, go ahead.
and then, he also saw Buffalo, sometimes twice a year, including the playoffs. And
You
he
said
was,
Denver twice a year.
yes,
I'm sorry, I was still on Buffalo. That's where I was confused. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Okay.
but with him possibly, seeing Buffalo twice a year when he was out in KC, including playoffs, he knew what to do. He knew what the game plan was and knew what to beat them. So maybe he reverts back to some KC plays against this Buffalo team that might be able to help us beat Buffalo Sunday.
I can definitely see that. I think he saw Buffalo's players. He didn't see the new he saw the Denver players twice a year. He didn't see the new coaching staff last year. This is a brand new coaching staff under Sean Payton. You brought you didn't see a Marvin Mims last year. He looked like Tyreek Hill out there. Yeah. With Buffalo, they have relatively the same roster. They added in a few new pieces in Leonard Floyd and Deontay Hardy on the receiver end. They picked up Osiris Torres, my Florida guy, guard, and my God, I wanted him so badly. But if y'all didn't watch the draft live stream, Chris, Andrew, and I had on back at the draft, we were clamoring for us to take
stream, man. That's one for the memory.
That is one for the books. Like every mock draft I was doing, I would have Osiris Torrance on my board because he did not give up a sack in college, and he played with it Anthony Richardson, who is as mobile as a QB as you will find.
Yeah, who's not playing on Sunday, by the way.
Who is not, but I don't blame him. I think concussion?
Yes.
Yeah, that adds up. But yeah, so for him seeing a new coaching staff at Denver and still us putting 30+ points on the board when we shouldn't have had to give up that 50-yard bomb and then hire juggling hands like this. The circus got hands just for decoration out there. This should not have come to a 2-point play that should have been us winning. But I think, yeah, if you can go back to that KC playbook a little bit, and we were using screens very effectively against Denver. Remember us last year? We couldn't have a positive yard screen to save our life.
No.
We popped out 3 or 4 in the past 2 games, and each one's gone for I think 5 or more yards. Use some of that, because if you see Terry, Jahan, and maybe Diame, because they'll probably be the number 3 if Samuel doesn't play, and they're like, oh, they're going to go deep, and all of a sudden you see Cole Turner on your right, and you see the tackles start to move and just shift a little bit, and they don't recognize the screen. There's 10 yards right there because HYDE and Poyer are going to sit back. Milano's probably not going to blitz. You're still going to have your regular 4-edge rush, and if Sam can just back up and throw on the run just a little bit, there's 10 yards on that screen. We've got to use simple. I don't want to say simple play calling, but just smart plays.
Yes.
There was nothing simple about that tight end screen.
No, there was not.
That thing was so beautiful. You fake the wide receiver, or first of all, play action to the left, fake the wide receiver screen to the right, fake the running back screen to the left, and then tight end screen through the middle.
Great play.
How far did that one go? That was a spectacle right there. Sometimes you wonder how that even gets off with how long that has to take to develop, but it worked to perfection. Love to see it.
I'm going to see if I can find it. If I can, then I'm not going to be. I'll find it later. But yeah, I think that went for pretty good yardage because I saw the highlight. I was like, "We did that.
Mm-hmm.
We did that."
Not under Scott Turner.
Not under Scott Turner. We didn't. We couldn't even do QB sneaks properly under Scott Turner.
Oh no, couldn't do anything.
We can't do nothing. But yeah,
keep it going. I'm looking for it.
To Andrew's point earlier, yeah, we are 6.5 point underdogs going to this game, which actually that adds about right. That sounds about right for us. 6.5 point underdogs. I can yeah. If this was 10 point, I'd be like, all right, the disrespect there, but 6 points, I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that. If we put up more than 25, I think we can win this game. If we're kept to under 20, I don't see us winning this game unless this is literally a 3 interception per quarterback, 6 sack per defensive line
monsoon.
Shit show. Yeah, if this is seriously the San Francisco Chicago Monsoon Bowl, the Mud Bowl, and this is a 17-16 type of game, everyone in the news, man, they barely beat Buffalo. How did Buffalo just lose to the Commanders? But if we win 25-21, 25-20, the Commanders might have something here, guys. Stephen A. Smith, the Commanders with their corny ass name and new ownership. They beat Josh Allen.
Yeah, it went for 9 yards, by the way. That
for 9
turnover.
yards. So it's essentially every screen we've had has almost gone for a first down.
Mm-hmm.
I will gladly take that.
This game will definitely be interesting on Sunday. It's going to be a fun one to watch, like it always is. But
yeah, it's going to
like
be a hard waiting to happen.
But like I said last week, they either win by A, the skin of the sea, or B, they completely get blown out the water.
Hope it's not the latter.
Yeah. I mean, if there's one song to describe this organization under any ownership, any offensive, it's hot and you're cold, it's yes and it's no. You're up and you're. That's literally how you would describe our offense. It's, oh man, touchdown, next drive, punt after a 3 now. It's like, what?
Dang.
It's like having a great appetizer and you get your steak and it's raw. Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
And also, you're missing the lamb sauce. Like, excuse me? What the fuck is this? So we're gonna wrap things up. Before we get out of here, let's get our score predictions in the books. Chris, I'm gonna start with you on this one. What is score prediction, my friend?
All right, it's gonna seem weird, but I'm gonna say 23-20 Washington.
You know what? That's not out of our warehouse. That sounds exactly like us.
It's possible.
Andrew, let's. I'm gonna go with you next.
I'm a little bit less optimistic than the last 2 games, but I think we still have a really good chance. So I'm going to make it a close game. I'm going to say 28-27 Bills, with very successful run games from both teams.
You traitor.
I know. It's my first non-pick of the Commanders for the year.
Hey, don't you pick Philly next week?
Oh, we'll have to find out next week.
Andrew, you're supposed to destroy the Sith, not join them.
My bad.
Your new empire. Let me stop. Tim, what is your score prediction?
27-24 Bills.
Bright and early off the bat. Alrighty.
Yeah, I'm totally a guy that NFL loves to prove wrong. So I'm just gonna say, I'll pick the Bills and I'll happily take a wrong prediction for a Commanders dub.
Same here.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. 23-20, 27. So these are all 3.1 score games. And I'm a fan of all of these scores. You're
gonna go 31-13 Bills, right?
Absolutely not. I am not Rio, Tony, Andrew. You pulled this shit week 1 and you're like 31-20. I said 28-14. I was still somewhat right. Like this close. I'm gonna go. Man, you guys are all in the 20s. I'm gonna go.
You're gonna go 34-31.
I'm gonna go 50-17 Buffalo, like 2 years ago. No, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 24-21. I'm gonna keep it relatively
24-21 who?
Washington. I need
okay. You had me worried there when you didn't say the winner.
I had you in the first half.
Yes, you did.
I'm gonna go 24-21 because I think if I like our defense better, and if we can get more than 3 sacks on Josh, I think that could be a turning point.
Yeah.
If we have 3 or more sacks and an interception, I think we can squeeze this one out.
Did you say Duran was gonna play?
Duran will play.
Yeah,
Duran will play. Excuse me.
Good. Guy's a freaking monster.
Any sort of pressure from our line, I think is going to be very beneficial and important to success in this game. We need to be able to absolutely blow up their offensive line, and that's going to completely flip the game around. I feel like we're going to feel the momentum going our way, and especially if our linebackers and DBs can step up and show some really good tackling and run defense. That's all we need really for defense.
I hear you. I just think the last time we played them, we allowed Josh Allen to get the ball out within 2 seconds way too often. Like the secondary was terrible. I think of Kendall Fuller just standing still and watching Manuel Sanders run right by him on a 3rd and 10 and getting a first down. Like you didn't even try. And Daron Payne's literally diving at Josh Allen, destroyed the offensive lineman. Should have been a sack, but instead Kendall Fuller just decides to not cover his man, and it turns into a huge 40-yard play or whatever. So that's the secondary is the biggest issue by far, because we will win our matchups. We will do well on the defensive line, but if the ball's out in 2 seconds, it doesn't matter. We've done the same thing when we played like Matt Stafford, Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, whoever. Like if the ball gets out so quick, it doesn't matter what your pass rush does.
And Andrew, you're really asking Cody Barton to step up. He doesn't know when to step up or step aside in a run game. He just lets him run past him.
Man,
he's blocking and just bye. Like
there's been some mixed opinions on him, but we need Curl to play. Come on, Curl.
I would love to see these positive reactions because all I've seen is Barton is some booty. That's all I've seen.
Well, it's just because he hasn't had the Jamin Davis forced fumble yet. Because Jamin Davis has not been playing well either, but he got the forced fumble, so he's back. And he's so good.
Yeah, the forced fumble. I think he's had a sack already too.
Did he have a sack? I remember him hitting the quarterback in the face and causing a penalty.
And then he had a sack because we had 7 sacks last game. So he had a sack.
And then the touchdown run and I think the first touchdown run, he was stuck in mud. He let the guard beat him to the spot, even though he had the angle on him. And lined up shading towards the run play, and he still got beat to the spot by an offensive lineman when he runs a 4-3. But it's ridiculous that he's stuck in mud so often.
I don't know how it happens.
Freak athlete though.
Freak athlete. We just never know how to use him. If he was his size but at 100 pounds, he'd be a great rusher. He'd probably get to the QB. But he's what, 6'4", like 212?
Is he that small? I thought it was like 230, but yeah.
I mean, even still, he's lighter than me. But no, if he added 100 pounds, he'd be like another Montez or Chase. Freak athlete, doesn't know how to finish. But he's a linebacker who gets stuck, like you said. And one thing I'll add before we wrap this up is we do not know how to blitz well, apparently. Everything I've seen, at least this year, is we can't blitz to save our life. Like we'll rush 7. And then you see a Marvin Mims go for 60 yards. It's like, that's supposed to be the reverse?
Did you guys like the Emmanuel Forbes pick?
Oh, we were hot. We were hot on the draft.
No, we did not like it at first.
Okay, so you guys don't like it at first. Now you do.
Yes.
We've come up to it.
I have not. I still can't stand the pick. I hate the pick with all my life. I mean, you have freaking Christian Gonzalez going mano a mano with Tyreek Hill.
Exactly.
Getting interceptions on Tyreek Hill.
He didn't look so hot in preseason or the first 2 games either, though.
He's going against A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Forbes is going against Michael Wilson.
Oh, I don't disagree.
Marvin Mims.
I don't disagree. Who? Oh, okay. Percy Butler was on Marvin Mims, so I'll give Forbes a pass on that one.
No, the other one where Emmanuel Forbes was 1-on-1 and got destroyed down the left sideline.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you have Tyreek Hill giving props to a rookie CG because he's actually covering him well. Yeah, I mean, of course, the receiver's going to win every once in a while. I'm not suggesting you have to shut it down. Like Stephon Diggs beat Sauce Gardner. I'm not sitting here thinking that Sauce Gardner sucks, right? But it's just
right.
There's levels to this thing.
Oh, there's definitely levels.
And CG was definitely the pick. But
he's definitely.
Sorry. The other aspect to that pick was we were looking for someone big who can make big plays, interceptions, fumbles, because that's what we were lacking on the defense. And I think that's what Ron saw with Forbes, who, had 6 pick sixes and whatever. big dude who can make a lot of interceptions. Gonzalez didn't really have that aspect. He was more a coverage guy in man and zone.
Mhm.
Forbes was more man, of course.
No, I know that's the narrative, and of course you have 14 interceptions for Forbes and only 4 for Christian Gonzalez. But all 4 of those came in the final year in Oregon.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know if you've heard, Colorado sucked before Deion got there.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad. The coaching sucked. The players around him sucked. So he doesn't have the same pass rush that he did in Oregon. And then he actually stepped up and got some interception. He should have had another, at least another one that I don't know how in the world that receiver took the ball away from him. But anyway, that's beside the point. CG was totally the right answer. Meanwhile, Emmanuel Forbes is a one-trick pony, 7 yards off the ball, zone coverage corner. We'll cover you deep. That's fine. But it's so bad that we drafted a scheme fit corner in the first round. If you want to draft a scheme fit zone corner, that's a 6th round pick. Okay, that's not a 1st round pick. And anyway,
yeah, I mean, look, what we did. Scheme fit safety called Cameron Curl felt it was in the 7th, and is arguably a top 10 safety in the league.
Emmanuel Forbes doesn't even start.
Yes.
Yeah, Forbes doesn't start. It's our secondary.
Are you guys okay with the fact that we did not draft a single starter?
Oh no, I hear that part.
Especially for I wanted offensive line earlier and a more volume than what we got. That was a problem for me.
Yeah, I was hot. I said Osiris Torrance we should have grabbed. DeMarvin Overshown, because then he would have been injured. He would have been playing.
How about DeJuan Jones?
Or DeJuan Jones in the
going mano a mano with TJ Watt. He was in the 3rd round, boys.
Yep.
No, I think he got to the 4th.
You might. Well, I'm saying he was available to us in the 3rd round.
Yeah. I think
we could have had Christian Gonzalez, traded up 3 picks and got Brian Branch, who I would have been fine if we drafted at 16. He was available at 44.
Yeah.
We could have traded up 2 picks for that, and then we could have DeJuan Jones in the 3rd.
Would have been amazing. Yeah.
And then the year before that, we could have had Trevor Penning, we could have had George Pickens, and then we could have had Leo Chenal, an actual good linebacker for the Chiefs.
Even forget Leo Chenal, we could have had Nick
We
Bolton.
drafted Fedarian Mathis.
Forget that. We'd have had Nick Bolton.
I wasn't as high on him, so I don't live in hindsight 2020. I like the reason I'm so mad about these picks is because these are the ones that I wanted at the time.
Yeah,
and these are the guys like you could always do hindsight 2020 of like, okay, Nick Bolton turned out to be really really good, or Tyler Algier is a guy I didn't know, but apparently he's pretty dang good over there at Atlanta, the running back. Damian Pierce, I didn't know. So I'm not trying to play I don't just say names later that like, oh, why didn't you know? Because I didn't know about him. Well, I knew about these, and I'm some idiot with a YouTube channel.
Yeah. Like,
what are you doing, Martin Mayhew?
Yeah. Well, Damian Pierce I knew about because Go Gators. But yeah, I agree with that part. Yeah. Hindsight being 2020, but yeah, if you look at any of our mock drafts from last November to the day of draft, we had a linebacker in the 2nd, we had offensive line in the 1st. I think if we had corner, we were moving up for Christian, or he might have fell. I think the reason why DeJuan fell so low is because every team that's got him there, like, he has no passion to play football. He's only talking about basketball. He doesn't look great at the pro day. And then you see him at Cleveland, and it's like, is that Joe Thomas?
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck is that guy? DeJuan Jones, your 4th or 5th round pick, who said no one wants to pay him or, pick him.
Yeah, we couldn't go lineman in the 1st because all of them got taken.
Yeah.
Literally all of them got taken ahead of us.
The other aspect to look at, though, is you got to take a look back and realize it's not been long enough to know for sure. And if you're looking back at last year when we took Jahan all the way at 16 again, right? It was 16, yeah.
Yep. Because we traded back with New Orleans.
And we gave up Olave technically, but we also got B-Rob and Sam and Cole Turner.
I say we won that trade.
Arguably just as good as Chris Olave, talent-wise. He's just not the wide receiver 1 on our team. Terry gets more.
Yeah.
Jahan's better than Olave.
I don't.
Yeah, he honestly could be. And we're all pissed at that. A lot of us were. Not all of us.
You can go back and watch my thing. I was so thrilled about the trade back. I loved it. And then I hated
some of us were, not everybody.
I hated the Jahan pick. I still hate the Jahan pick.
We just have no way of knowing until later. So we
Could
best
have had
thing
George Pickens in round 2.
We honestly could have honestly had NFL Youngboy on our team. We could have.
NFL
George
young
Pickens
boy.
was the best receiver in that draft.
Yeah.
On that day. I don't know what scouts were looking at other than attitude problems. That's the only reason why you don't draft George Pickens. The dude is nasty. Best hands in the draft, 6'3", 210 pounds, runs a 4.4, can block. He could route run. He could do everything that you and then you see him run for a 71-yard touchdown on prime time. Or last year, freaking diving,
the
Odell
one
Beckham catching. That's
yeah.
But yeah, I still don't.
I don't think
even though I think
Chris
Jahan's
Olave-
a good player. I'm not in on Forbes at all. I don't like Forbes, but I think Jahan's a good player.
Yeah. I think Chris Olave's in the same predicament Terry was out the draft. Is he's gone through 3 or 4 QBs already, and it's just his second year. He has Derek Carr now. He had Taysom Hill. He had, I think, Jameis Winston, and I swear Ian Book played a few drives last season.
Famous Jameis.
Jameis Crablangs Winston. So he's already gone through 3 or 4 QBs, and he's on his second season, a la Terry McLaurin. He's gonna have the Terry effect of great standout Ohio State wide receiver going to a team with a carousel of QBs, but he's gonna find a way to get 900 to 1,000 yards, and he's the number 2 because Michael Thomas is still on that team. He wasn't the number 1 like Terry was technically coming into the draft or coming into our team, even though we got him in the 3rd round.
Yep.
Yeah, Terry was a surprise pick. That was awesome.
Surprise pick, and honestly, he's been the best pick in the last 4 years.
Obviously, yeah. Nobody's unhappy with them.
Yeah. But, I mean, if we could go back and do hindsight, I think we do a lot of things over. But sadly, we cannot. This is not the world between worlds, and this is not the Tesseract, even though I would love to kill for one. But, guys, that is going to wrap things up on one of the more lengthier prediction videos. We went through a lot of in-depth looks and everything. Tim, I can't thank you enough for coming on, especially last minute and late at night.
This one. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
That's it, guys. If you don't forget to like and subscribe here on the channel, head over to the Tim Sports Talk over on YouTube. A newly acquired Instagram for him. I saw that earlier today. Twitter, everything's gonna be down in the description, and everything will be up on screen for you guys. Head over there, follow him, do all the things I know you guys will. Let's go see where our Commanders will go win on if they even play on Sunday, barring this storm. But hopefully they go out and win. Hit to those Commanders, and don't forget to stay balling. We'll see y'all out there.